If not for, what is it? If not for Team Italy, is that's a really old goalie that's on there?
No, Greece.
Greece.
Yeah,
Greece.
Katakis.
Just if not for him, he might have won the award. But
Yeah,
you know what? Again, you just gotta learn how to enjoy those moments.
Yeah. Plus, sometimes you gotta get away from your wife, so that's just what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, we're
Commercial break! We've been really busy over the past 2 years developing our very own women's lacrosse stick.
We are really proud of it. So stop by the shop. We would love to tell you more about it.
Good Stick Co. Come get a stick. Good Stick Company is here to manufacture and produce lacrosse sticks locally here in the Czech Republic. Our mission is to make lacrosse more accessible so more kids can have access to affordable, high quality equipment so more people can play this game and we can share this sport around the world. Our philosophy on pricing is quite simple. By removing all these different logistics and these middlemen in the manufacturing process of lacrosse sticks, we can pass those savings on to you. We can make these quality lacrosse sticks affordable for more people.
We honor our indigenous roots and international history. Lacrosse is more than a game. We play with speed, heart, and precision. Young, modern, electric, inclusive, growing across the globe. Lacrosse is everyone's sport, governed globally by World Lacrosse. We honor our indigenous roots and international history. Lacrosse is more than a game. We play with speed, heart, and precision. Young, modern, electric, inclusive, growing across the globe. Lacrosse is everyone's sport, governed globally by World Lacrosse.
Good morning. Welcome to Wrocław, Poland for the 2025 Men's European Lacrosse Championship on Lax TV and World Lacrosse TV. The final full day of this championship will get started here with Bulgaria, the 24 seed, and Ukraine, the 23. They're playing for 23rd place, and two first-timers in an international tournament meeting here. Someone is going to get their first win. With Daniel Chernovsky, I'm Ralph Bednarczyk. So happy to have you with us, and happy that the weather for the moment is clear and dry. It has again been difficult the last 2 days where it has greatly affected play. But these two teams in their finale here in Wrocław, Daniel, they both look to get a ton out of it before they can celebrate that both arrived here and got through the tournament and got their nations on the map.
Certainly Bulgaria and Ukraine are happy just to be at the tournament, having the opportunity to speak with some of the Bulgarians and Ukrainians. It brings you back to first play in lacrosse, a true joy for the game and being present in a tournament like this.
Opening faceoff will be controlled by the Ukrainians. In goal is 18-year-old Marcos Bocanegra of Bulgaria. He's coming up with the initial save on Artem Polishchuk, the faceoff man for Ukraine, and he'll outlet ahead. And we'll see what the Bulgarians can do. In terms of the clear, they'll have a chance to maybe possess the ball a little bit more, but the Bulgarians have increased their play tenfold since this tournament has began. And talking to head coach Darcy Powlis about the pleasure that has been and the questions that his team is asking, and they still have a lot of young guys, just 5 guys over 30. The inspiration that they're sensing from this occasion of being here to carry them beyond today and into the future. Tucker Lebel will step in. And for the Bulgarians, they even had a brief lead against Finland in their second meeting against the Finns. So they have taken an enormous amount of baby steps with each passing day. In goal for Ukraine, Jay Blasko, who graduated from Liberty University. And the bounce shot taken by Lebel. That's blocked. And the ground ball picked up by Vladislav Nahornyuk. And Nahornyuk will outlet. And here is Yevgeny Sheehan. Sheehan with the drop-off, looking in the middle for Yevgeny Lukanchuk, just 17 years old. And the ground ball with a initial flag coming out. Matter of fact, actually, happy birthday to Yevgeny Lukanchuk, turning 18 years old this weekend.
In games such as this, where you have teams that are not necessarily new to the sport, but in their infancy, you can see the importance of simply trying to simplify the game, especially on the clear. So with Belarus on their first man up of the game, I'd imagine they want to just have a quality possession.
Well, they'll get the rep. Tucker Lebel made a fake pass, and Lebel gets Bulgaria started.
I was going to say that they probably want to work the ball around a little bit, but that was an excellent shot, picking the left side corner.
Ukraine defenders giving him too much space. Galin Ivanov comes up with the assist, a man-up finish, and the Bulgarians and Ukrainians both knowing here's a real chance to come up with the first international win in their nation's history in lacrosse. Semen Pejkovsky is the primary face-off man for Bulgaria against Artem Polishchuk. They'll meet all afternoon, and a face-off controlled again by the Ukrainians.
Ukraine looking to push here.
And on the drive, and that shot going wide by their leading scorer, Michael Melnichenko. Played in the U.S. and had a great career in Philadelphia at Division II Chestnut Hill. He has back up the starters, Maxim Dorobichuk, Michael Melnichenko, Andrew Timkev. And running the first midfield, Vladislav Humenyuk, just 16 years old, Volodymyr Lesko, and Rachin Agbayani. A ground ball picked up by the Bulgarians, and they will shuffle through and try to come up with the clear. Clearing was an early obstacle for the Bulgarians in the first 2 games against good competition when they were shut out 19-0 and 23-0 by England before they eventually made steps, and now having a chance to play against someone closer to their level would be fascinating to see. And talking to Darcy Powlis about knowing situations. Bounce shot taken by Julian Bakalov, and trying to test the goalie who makes the save in Lesko, or rather Jay Blasko. And Ukraine with transition. Ukraine almost did not play in this game, Daniel. They led going into the fourth quarter yesterday against Denmark, a much more established country, 7-6 going into the fourth. Their head coach, Dan Britton, native of Virginia, as this shot fought off by Bocanegra, called it a flawless first three quarters. They did everything well. Shot over the top by Volodymyr Lesko, stopped by Bocanegra. And then as he looks for the outlet, and Bulgaria will try to hockey stick it ahead, but fails on the clear. They did everything well, but then having to learn how to play in a close game for the Ukrainians ultimately did them in, knowing time and score, an implosion, mental mistakes, penalties, all of that came to the surface for this young Ukraine team that was seeking its first win. And there is a school of thought of learning how to win is another element to learning individual skills.
Playing under pressure is such a difficult thing. We overestimate or underestimate the reps in those type of situations. You'll frequently see undefeated teams in other sports suddenly get knocked off late rounds simply because they have not had that experience. Some things have gone too easy for them along the way. For Ukraine, I think they're showing the ability to adapt and learn. We're watching a nice, solid offensive possession here. The stick skills may not be at the same level, but I think the effort is.
Feed down to the crease for Melnichenko. And it'll go back to the Bulgarians. And to finish off the point about yesterday's Denmark game, first three quarters, Dan Britton felt we were smart. We played under control. We were running a tremendous flow and continuity of offense, playing a true 6-on-6. And then just seeing that game tighten up and realizing what to do in those situations. And the same thing, and really a carryover from 2 days ago. They lost 14-7 to Croatia in a competitive game, in a game that was closer than the final score indicated, where they learned flow, how to create balance, rotation. And here's a ground ball picked up by Blasco on the outlet ahead. The rotation, the motion of what an offense should look like, how to create space and open up space for your teammates. And he's been very happy to see kind of the structure occur. Off the pass, then diving through the middle, Bocanegra stops Nazari Panin to D-Mini. That was not picked up. Ground ball still in front.
Ball still in play. Bulgaria with a chance to pick it up and miss the ground ball.
And finally the pursuit from Maxim Dorobichuk. And he will find his trail man, David Jabotinsky. The return back, I think, for Jabotinsky. And we've got a goal for Ukraine. Well, Ukraine stayed with it. Several passes.
Similar to their fast break goal, I saw some solid feeds here. Finding the cutter, able to get right through on the goalie. Intelligent lacrosse right there.
Andrew Timkev with the goal, and Melnichenko was able to find him in that traffic, cutting through 2-0 Ukraine.
And to your point earlier, as these teams develop, the thing that most of them begin to learn is that it's much easier to move the ball to find an open man than to go through someone covering you. And as you complete those passes, you force the defense back, and it does create lanes for you. And that comes with reps. I think Ukraine's showing that they're learning along the way and really demonstrating talent.
Score tied at 1. Beg your pardon, as Bocanegra will come up with the ball and outlet ahead. And the Bulgarians, as Lebel will bring the ball down. The Bulgarians' improved game sense, that has come along, and it's interesting as really diving into and researching the two teams. Ukraine is about a full cycle ahead of where Bulgaria is. Ukraine lacrosse started in 2011 with Dan Britton making the first of many, many visits to the country. He has 4 campers, original campers when they were little kids in 2011, now on this team. While the Bulgarians only getting started in recent years, as this is a turnaround shot coming from Nikolai Cholikov, as Cholikov testing the stick of Jay Blasco. And it'll be Ukraine having possession, searching for the clear. Now a ride put on with Blasco having to pick up. Good pressure exerted by Cholikov again. And still loose, pursuing his 11, Fabian Todorov. And Todorov was a high school goalie playing attack here primarily for Bulgaria. He will pick it up. He is from the Miami area, Coral Springs. And he'll pick it up after the failed clear by Ukraine. Lebel started the scoring man up for Bulgaria. Timkev from Melnichenko for Ukraine tied it.
I think given the relative infancy of both the teams, this ride and clear will play out to be an important part of this game. You can see the teams attempt to move it back up, but the stick skills and or just getting used to the pressure has caused some turnovers on both ends of the ball for both Ukraine and Bulgaria.
Cholikov having Lebel cutting across. Well done.
Beautiful give and go there.
Two of the pillars of Bulgarian lacrosse. Young player and Tucker Lebel, a college coach at Clark University in Iowa. He has been really one of the driving forces to make this game and this tournament possible. He gets it from the founding president in Cholikov, 2-1.
It was great having conversations with them and just hearing their enthusiasm for getting this program going and their desire to develop Bulgarian lacrosse. Not just simply bringing in outside players, but also developing domestic. Definitely see a commitment on their part to making sure they build a solid base with which to build upon for Bulgaria.
Lebel played collegiate lacrosse at NAIA Clark, where now he is the coach, graduating in 22, and was the program's all-time leading goal scorer his senior year. He finished his career with 60 goals, and has been a volunteer high school coach. He's played a lot of box lacrosse with Bulgarian coach here in Darcy Paulus, and he has been even scouting all these teams for potential future players to bring over. And excited about the next step as this is back up going to Bulgaria. Andrei Chapchev was able to win the race to the end line.
I see the Ukrainian player a little bit upset, but as we pointed out during the course of the tournament, it is closest man to the ball when it goes out, not closest to the end line.
Galin Ivanov. And Bulgaria the clear, looking for their first lead at the end of any quarter. And another building block. First goal that was scored in Bulgarian history in an international tournament was by 13 Clayton Bell. That came against the Netherlands.
You can see the veterans of Bulgaria, those that have collegiate experience. You can see as they sort of quarterback the offense, try to make sure that their last possession, or this possession at least, is as quality as possible. Unfortunately, though, with the turnover.
Good strip, Vladislav Nahornyuk. He's able to circle back and find a teammate, and now looking for the clear is Ukraine with Yevgeny Lukanchuk. And Lukanchuk has Melnichenko.
Melnichenko had a beautiful toe drag before and just lost it on the carpet. And the shot I even saw, he shot around the defender, although it didn't hit the net, demonstrate high lacrosse IQ.
Yeah, Melnichenko, a brilliant career at Division II Chestnut Hill. 205 career points, and he has helped stabilize Ukraine on offense as the rest of the team has been able to catch up. Off the whistle, transition, Panin, as Nazari Panin tried to get down the right alley to get a shot off, and Bulgarian's defense has been tough. They have not allowed corners to be turned, and they win yet another race to the end line. And they have a 2-1 lead, 2 minutes to go, opening quarter, in a battle for 23rd place, and much more than that, first international victory for one of these two nations will occur today, and a stepping stone and something to really be proud of moving on to the next phases. Timeout is taken by Bulgaria's Dimitar Ivanov, and we will keep it here at 2-1. For the Bulgarians, next fall, there's a box championship they're hoping to participate in. And again, the leaders of Cholikov, Tucker Lebel, remotely when he is coaching back in Iowa. Darcy Palace, the encouragement of trying to meet up one time a month, and the message being sent that the older guys, now that they've gone through this experience, truly getting the word out and grooming the younger guys, getting them to remain on the path. It can be a difficult sport, but to stay the course of this sport is among the, and there's several aspects I'll get into this broadcast with, but staying the course for the older guys as the message for the younger generation that they will begin to encounter in their native Bulgaria was one notable thing that struck me from Darcy Palace.
I think as we deal with these programs and see from country to country, the development of nature is a challenge. It is Europe, so soccer is king, but we've seen mixes, places like the Czech Republic that have mastered box as their developmental engine, and as we spoke about earlier, a place like the Netherlands, which has developed a wonderful systematic lacrosse, really on field, without the same sort of box background you've seen from other European countries.
Bulgaria out of the timeout, 1:49 to play, so they'll have a chance to run some offense and progressions. And one of the things that Bulgaria lacrosse, I think, took so much from, on Monday, England lacrosse hosted a clinic or a co-practice with the Bulgarians, lasting 1.5 hours. They went by position. Just tremendous individual work. The face-off man, Semen Pejkovsky, who's only 21 years old, he got a lot out of working with Daniel Madeley, one of the two face-off men for England, about counters and opening his mind up to the world and being the student of the game and studying facing off. And all that entails is we have a whistle.
Take an equipment check here on the Bulgarian player. He's lucky it looks like the ref's fixing it for him. Always nice to have someone taking care of you.
Yep. That's Fabian Todorov.
You know, as we've talked around these lacrosse tournament games, specifically within Europe, different style of refereeing here. And during a call yesterday, I was admiring the fact they have been consistent. And I noticed that during the Norway game, the type of calls that would come out there really reflect almost a soccer style. It's not that they have an issue with a specific type of check or even a slap check. It's just that if they see an abundance of that, that's going to draw the call. But good footwork is always king.
Offsides is called, and a good box out by the Ukrainian attackman on Yavor Argenio, defender for Bulgaria. Argenio just lost his balance there. Another subtle thing that he'll learn moving forward. Good to see Argenio back after taking a knock in yesterday's loss at the hands of Sweden.
It is nice to hear, though, about England lacrosse running clinics and really contributing there. I have heard that they even adapted their own program and really change it so that they bring down to what we would consider in the U.S. a high school level.
A shot ripped off the pipe. Vladislav Humenyuk got the shot, and it will go out of bounds and stay with Ukraine with 22 seconds left. They get a stoppage with under 30 seconds until the whistle.
Beautiful look there, but as they say, the pipe is the goalie's best friend.
Well, now our officials, maybe this near side official, Daniel, may have felt that the ball was closest to a Bulgarian player. Well, they double check and verify it is Ukraine possession.
Excellent communication between the referees there to make sure they get the call right.
Darting through from the top. What a pretty drive. Vladislav Humenyuk, just 16 years old. And look at the strides he has made this week. 2-2.
Beautiful split there. You can see him move the stick from left to right to cut through the defenders. And nice placement on the shot. Excellent work by the young 16-year-old.
Humenyuk yesterday in the near victory over Denmark, he had 4 goals. And perhaps the first real budding offensive talent in Ukraine lacrosse history. Ukraine led that game 8-6. Early fourth quarter, 8-7. Early fourth quarter. Denmark would score the last 3. Here's a shot at the end of the quarter by Pejkovsky, but a flag is out.
I think this is a great example of game sense and understanding what's going on with the more repetition you have here. In an ideal scenario, you'd be telling Bulgaria not to take that shot, maintain possession with the flag down, so you carry it into the quarter.
Oh, a shot by LaBelle off the whistle, surprises Blasco.
And it counts. Honestly, from a veteran player there, maybe thought everyone else was thinking what I was thinking and holding the ball and just took the shot at it.
LaBelle with all 3 for Bulgaria. That's a man-up goal with just 2 seconds to spare. Everybody but Tucker LaBelle expecting him to hold it. He decided, why not? 3-2 Bulgaria in the battle for who and which nation will come up with their first win. We go to the second quarter on Lax TV and World Lacrosse TV.
Worth mentioning that the clock that we have that we look at is not the referee's official time, so they maybe let them take a face and then cut for the quarter.
And there it is, just for posterity. That will pause. 3-2 Bulgaria with the lead. Their first lead in their international competition at the end of a quarter is in Wrocław. Well, we started today with one of the, I think, interesting goals of the tournament. Tucker LaBelle with just 2 seconds on the timer, end of the first quarter, surprising Jay Blasko of Ukraine throwing a shot in from basically right, even a barely, maybe a 10-degree angle off of GLE, and he surprised Blasko rather than hold on to it to close out the first quarter because they had a man up. So Ukraine will start with possession, trailing 3-2. 23rd place is on the line, and the first win in lacrosse for one of these nations before they go home.
I think that second item's got to be what motivates anyone. Very few opportunities to be the first in anything for a country. To be on the first winning squad is something you'll always take with you.
Humenyuk, what a fine goal, showing off his talent and projection. On the drive and stick side save made, Bocanegra. And again, the dodge coming from the midi on the far side. That was Agbayani. Then back in front, Melnichenko. Bocanegra gambled and paid for it. 3-3.
See the importance of the riding clear here. Goalie was just a little bit short on that outlet pass.
Ukraine goal by number 27, Michael Melnichenko.
Got the pass from 88, I think, or rather that was 58, Rakin Agbayani. First for Melnichenko.
As you mentioned earlier, Melnichenko showing that veteran presence, immediately turning, noticing the goalie's out of place, and putting it right into the net.
Polishchuk. Cleanest face-off win so far of this one. And Ukraine coming out of the timeout Ukraine lacrosse started to have the structure moving forward in terms of the calendar too. Humenyuk frees his hands. Humenyuk again with a big and projectable body that is yet to fill out. But Vladislav Humenyuk looking the part. 4-3.
I like how he thought about taking the shot, took another 2 to 3 steps earlier by freezing the goalie, gives himself a tighter angle, an additional 4 to 5 steps, make it a much higher percentage goal chance for him.
And showing great presence of mind and stick skills to ward off checks. He's got 2, and Ukraine leads again. Volodymyr Lesko, uncontested ground ball. And Ukraine to try to follow that up 3 minutes into the second quarter. And Melnichenko will hold. Marcus Bocanegra making the start. He's been the primary goalie for the Bulgarians. They actually have 3 with them. A look to the front, and the shot fought off again, the stick of Bocanegra. As that man diving to the middle was Rakin Agbayani. On the backup for the Ukrainians, Dorobichuk. Outside for the shot, and the bouncer will go for Nazari Panin. He just missed one as the D-Midi in transition of the first quarter. Ukraine has pumped it up to 5-3.
I like the way the ex-attackman attacked the goal, drawing down the defender. The wingman then quickly transitioned the ball up top to really leave for a wide open shot there. Excellent execution by Ukraine.
Yeah, it's something Dan Britton talked about even 2 days ago, Daniel, against Croatia. They saw the first signs of flow of offense, learning how to push the ball, settle the offense, spread the field. Everybody gets a touch, the balance, the rotation, everybody like a wheel. And it's no coincidence as these particular teams, I think like all teams, have stayed and watched lots of other games, and particularly the established nations, the established teams full of North American players, and the championship contenders, as there's a good ride by LaBelle to force it out. And Bulgaria will have it again. But they've stayed to watch all those games. It's one thing to watch games, on TV, and perhaps you can get distracted. Certainly highlight clips, yeah, they're fun, but watching games and how teams move in particular, I've always gotten the sense, Daniel, that these developing players in developing countries get a lot from even a few minutes of watching it in person.
I was extremely impressed with countries such as Norway yesterday, not just in terms of their technical offensive spacing, but also their ability to ride and clear. It demonstrated understanding of working the midline. Just, again, as teams observe it.
There's LaBelle, able to catch and then rear back and fire. Tucker LaBelle with his best game of these European Championships. He has 4.
And as I was saying, as teams observe it, they begin to elevate their level. And similarly, though, for Bulgaria and for the Ukraine, the intermix of native players along with North Americans enables them to see a higher level of intelligence within lacrosse and emulate it and bring it right back onto the field.
LaBelle with all 4 for the Bulgarians. And all have been perimeter shots. Make that really 3 out of 4 have been perimeter shots as Pekovsky pursues and wins the faceoff from Polishchuk. And Bulgaria chance to tie. Semen Polishchuk protecting the stick. Turns still with it, and his bouncer is off target. Blasko pursues. Blasko the closest to it for the Ukraine possession.
Tough moment there for the Bulgarian player. You see a beautiful spin there, releasing just a little bit wide of the net.
Now path to cage, and Bocanegra is beaten. When there was an opening to drive for Volodymyr Lesko, and no one really picked him up upon catching the ball, he's able to make a long dash to the front.
See now, at least 2 to 3 possessions and kind of broken plays where the Ukrainian team dots down the field, has the ability to find an open man, whether it be wide or just a fast clear, and take advantage of an unsettled defense for the Bulgarians.
6-4 is our score. Daniel, I want you to pay attention moving forward from the perspective of communication on field. You know, that's I'm sure you've talked to all your young players about how vital that is.
Well, especially on defense, you're trying to make sure that as people cut through, you get the appropriate ride or clear. A veteran goalie, as many of these teams have been able to recruit, proves to be kind of the stalwart of any defense, making sure he anchors it down and is the field general.
And Homeniuk will hold it up. Under 7.5 left. And a well-played first half. Who will win their first international competition between Bulgaria and Ukraine? Melnichenko slipped the pass through. He had Agbayani.
Almost two opportunities there. Still an intelligent pass, just slightly off. Ukraine is showing the type of discipline and patience that's going to make it very hard for the Bulgarians to easily stop them on offense.
There's Julian Bakalov. Overthrows his teammate. LaBelle pursues. And the ground ball taken by Ukraine off the failed clear. This is transitioned by Oleksiy Yakhmichuk. And Yakhmichuk, another 16-year-old of the four. Yakhmichuk takes it across, then rolls, and rolls back a second time. Then too many white jerseys around him. As it pops in the air, and the pursuit by Pekovsky with the ground ball. 88 in white for Bulgaria. There is I thought I saw a flag down. No, just the hold will be called. And this is against Ukraine as they try to bottle up Semen Pekovsky. So the transition from Argenio. And LaBelle will step in with her to 6, and LaBelle may have just popped the tire. And Tucker LaBelle now in some serious pain. Unfortunately, the attrition in this tournament has taken its toll on seemingly every team, Daniel, when you have very little recovery time.
This style of tournament, over a 10-day period, as many as 7 to 8 games to be played, just takes. There is no real true way to make sure that every single one of your players can withstand that type of pounding when you're going back and forth. I do believe Tucker had told us prior to the tournament he wasn't even sure that he was going to be able to play, as he was expecting to be coaching for the Bulgarian team. So he may not have even had the opportunity to prepare in the level you are when you're going to head into this type of situation.
This is the 7th game in 8 days for Bulgaria with 1 day off. That came on the 12th. And Tucker LaBelle, he saw it immediately as he is being tended to with his back of his left leg, potential left hamstring. And LaBelle has all 4 goals scored for the Bulgarians. Soft tissue injuries in particular, Daniel, have been the common trend of this tournament. And I think that's not just for this tournament, but many like it.
Yeah, similar to what I saw out in San Diego in 2023, you can see the combination of 10 days and, quite frankly, stretching hydration. Those little things can add up. Quad strains, hamstring pulls. It's a lot more challenging than one might think. These are not players that are simply running around, for 3 to 5 minutes over the course of each day. On average, I think Syracuse once did a study saying that their defensemen were covering as much as 5 miles during the course of a game when they were putting meters on them. There is a lot of ground being covered over the course of these full games.
That's why in soccer you will actually see the devices that track heart rate, mileage.
I think Gate was one of the first to bring it out to the lacrosse community, and now it's being adopted by more teams.
Tucker LaBelle is still down. Off camera here to our right as he was crossing into the restraining box, and he knows he came up limp immediately and in the vicinity of his left hamstring. And everything that Tucker LaBelle has done behind the scenes to pull this together for the Bulgarians, he can't wait for the next box event and go actively recruiting, not just for for his college team that he's the head coach for at Clark University in Iowa. But to find more Bulgarians, as now they're on the map, and word gets out that there is a team for anybody with Bulgarian heritage to try to help raise the level and raise the interest and the volume of players that they have in their pool.
I'm sure your conversation with him was similar to mine, and you could see the enthusiasm and his willingness to listen, just to hear how other programs have developed, have worked there. And I think that's a common theme when we've talked to the European countries here. They accept that there's development that needs to happen to build out their player pools, and they're sharing best practices as they go through that process. Hate seeing this to a player such as this, where he's giving all of the effort, obviously wants to get his country their first ever win, and unfortunately, as many athletes discover the hard way, your body does not care what you want. When it goes, it goes.
LaBelle still being tended to down on the sideline. So we'll take a break here from Wrocław. It is 6-4 Bulgaria trailing Ukraine in the battle for 23rd place on the final full day of the 2025 Men's European Lacrosse Championship. And a nice sign of sportsmanship by Ukraine, giving the ball back to Bulgaria after Tucker LaBelle had turned it over after appearing like he came up with a serious muscle pull of some kind in his left leg. He had to be helped off the field and getting some medical assistance over on the far sideline in the medical tent. Thankfully, there are paramedics on site for every game. So Bulgaria will have to play presumably the rest of the game without him. He scored all 4 of their goals and is certainly their offensive leader. As Julian Bakalov turned it over and transitioned for Nazari Panin. And here comes Ukraine with under 5 minutes left in the first. And Tucker Lebel, not just his offensive shooting and production, Daniel, is a loss for Bulgaria, but I think just his presence in the huddles for the rest of his game, as this game remains close, will be missed.
Hard to overstate the importance of a veteran like him and how it settles down the office as he was quarterbacking them and telling them where to be.
Panin feeds to the high crease. Looking to jam it in front off of one stick fake. Fine save. Bocanegra jumping in front. Maxim Dorobichuk tried to change planes, but never went low. Stayed high, both fakes. And Bulgaria will try to transition, but the pass is away from Ivanov and backed up by Ukraine's Oleksiy Yakbichuk. And then Yakbichuk's pass gets away from his next teammate. And the Bulgarians will have it again with 4 minutes to go.
This is an element we talked about earlier in regards to just game sense and understanding. Both teams rushed their clears there. There is no shot clock here. There's no countdown for them to step it into the box. It would behoove these teams to kind of take a little bit more time. I think the clear right before that from Bulgaria was a demonstration of actually lacrosse IQ. You saw the defender kind of slip behind the attackman to get the clear. These nice... Bulgaria opted to take the timeout now.
After Andrei Chopchev came across, Topchev was about to try to push transition, and Darcy Palace says, wait a second, he's got to now orchestrate an offense without Lebel, who is your coach on the field. So that's what the Bulgarians will discuss as you see some of the highlights that are being played so far from this first half. It's 6-4, Ukraine leading Bulgaria. The first game of the final full day of this men's European Lacrosse Championship. Ralph Bednarchuk alongside Daniel Chernovsky on what is at least an overcast day, but fortunately no rain in the forecast until perhaps later on today. It seems during this 10-day tournament, that has been an overwhelming consistency. We apologize if you might be hearing some audio difficulties, but we'll keep it here on Lax TV and World Lacrosse TV. 6-4 is our score. And also for the Bulgarians, over on their far sideline, and you talk about a passion that players have for their countries, and especially in this first exposure to lacrosse. Lebel exiting as their leader, but also number 9, Dimitar Velev, is on the far sideline, starting defender, the best defenseman, an imposing presence at 6'4". Velev took a shot against the Netherlands a few days ago in the helmet, actually twice. Velev, for this last day, decided that he wanted to go out and put on his helmet and uniform just to at least warm up with his teammates and a sign of solidarity and togetherness with his teammates. He's not medically cleared to play, but just went through some of the pregame throwing the ball around. And that was great to see Dimitar Velev as he is feeling better several days after taking a shot flush on in the back of the head. Big hit applied by Ukraine's number 11, Yevgeny Lukanchuk. And Bulgaria will keep it. And Velev was that passionate that he felt, I'm going to still put on the uniform, because you just don't know when you're going to have a chance to do this again. And Velev had only picked up a long pole a couple of weeks before this tournament because they realized he would fit in well as a defender. Bulgaria with possession. They had just spent the timeout. And now who will quarterback things for them here? Dimitar Ivanov. Feet to the front, Todorov, bouncer, and it will work. Well, nice patience shown by Fabian Todorov. He sensed, let me move the goalie, Jay Blasco. It's 6-5. Now the pass coming from Ivanov.
I think you nailed it correctly there. It was just the patience that he demonstrated there, and that, I believe, was a derivative of their timeout there. Well-coached little set there from Bulgaria.
And the Bulgarians getting a goal from someone other than Lebel. What a confidence booster that could be. 1:53 to go, first half. Bulgaria led 3-2 after one, their first lead at the end of any quarter in an international competition. And they have come so far in a matter of 10 days. Procedure will be called, and this time against Pekovsky. So Bulgaria will have, rather, Ukraine will have it. Ukraine coach Dan Britton still has both of his timeouts. Dodobichuk will swing here. Volodymyr Lesko. Humenyuk has been their primary and clear dodging option. He gives it off for a goal.
Get a beautiful give and go from Ukraine, demonstrating lacrosse intelligence here, initiating the dodge, drawing the slide, and just finding the open man.
Goal from 88, Dmitro Holavtyuk. A little draw and dump. Or check that, that's Volodymyr Lesko, 99. It'd be hard to tell. 7-5 is the score.
Number 99, Volodymyr Lesko.
Off the face-off, Polishchuk. Up ahead, Melnichenko, shot blocked.
So dangerous off these draws. You can see the quick pace at which Ukraine is capable of getting the ball down and getting a shot off.
Officials are going to have a look at a piece of equipment again from Bulgaria. And it looks like they're going to send off Andrei Topchev.
Saw them check at the back of the helmet, maybe something chipped off. Didn't quite see if maybe a shot hit or just the ref noticed something.
Pekovsky gets through a couple of checks, 23 seconds to go. Feet in front, and he had Cholikov in front. Cholikov pursues, as was at his feet. And it's raked further out of traffic. And here comes Nazari Panin. Panin with 8 seconds to go. Can he get the pass ahead? At Melnichenko, it's away from him. And this will eventually expire the first half. Bulgaria had the lead 3-2 for the first time in any competition. Ukraine, 24 hours after nearly upsetting Denmark yesterday and having the lead after 3 quarters. They've got the lead here at halftime over the Bulgarians in the battle for 23rd place on the final full day of the 2025 Men's European Lacrosse Championship from Wrocław, Poland. We'll be back in 10 minutes on Lax TV and World Lacrosse TV.
Commercial break! We've been really busy over the past 2 years developing our very own women's lacrosse stick.
We are really, really proud of it. So stop by the shop. We would love to tell you more about it.
Good Stick Co. Come get a stick. Good Stick Company is here to manufacture and produce lacrosse sticks locally here in the Czech Republic. Our mission is to make lacrosse more accessible so more kids can have access to affordable, high quality equipment so more people can play this game and we can share this sport around the world. Our philosophy on pricing is quite simple. By removing all these different logistics and these middlemen in the manufacturing process of lacrosse sticks, we can pass those savings on to you. We can make these quality lacrosse sticks affordable for more people.
We honor our indigenous roots and international history. Lacrosse is more than a game. We play with speed, heart, and precision. Young, modern, electric, inclusive, growing across the globe. Lacrosse is everyone's sport. governed globally by World Lacrosse. We honor our indigenous roots and international history. Lacrosse is more than a game. We play with speed, heart, and precision. Young, modern, electric, inclusive, growing across the globe. Lacrosse is everyone's sport, governed globally by World Lacrosse. We honor our indigenous roots and international history. Lacrosse is more than a game. We play with speed, heart, and precision. Young, modern, electric, inclusive, growing across the globe. Lacrosse is everyone's sport, governed globally by World Lacrosse.
pursuing the nation's first victory in international competition and 23rd place in Wrocław. 7-5. Ralph Bednarczyk alongside Daniel Chernovsky, the first game out of 9 on the last full day of competition. 3 games tomorrow, key games for 21st place, 7th place, and the gold medal. 7th place critical because that is the final spot for the World Championships in Japan in 2027. The 7 versus 8 matchup, which will be fascinating. It's Germany and France. And then the gold medal game that'll take place between Italy and Israel.
Some excellent scheduling there on the part of the organizers to put the key matchups for determinations there right at the end. Certainly the exciting lacrosse we've watched over the past day. You see the passion and the desire to be in those final, the gold medal spot, to be in the bronze medal game and get yourself into Japan. Very excited lacrosse to be able to watch.
Yeah, the bronze medal game is tonight. That should be a doozy too. England and Ireland, so many subplots and history. And the English trying to recover from their loss, the last game of the day. Yesterday, 7-6 in a spirited game played in heavy rain throughout. A dodge to the right, Volodymyr Lesko, and Ukraine continues to move the ball pretty swiftly. A
They've
step
shown
ahead of the Bulgarians.
Showing confidence as they move the ball around, and honestly, very good at finding the open man, giving space to that person to either dodge or shoot. If you're Bulgaria, I think you want to have a long offensive possession, make sure there's not momentum in Ukraine's favor. But Ukraine has done a lot better on the face.
Lesko with 3. Vladislav Humenyuk with 2 to lead the Ukrainians. 8-5 is the score. And no sign of Tucker Lebel, who's been the leading scorer for the Bulgarians in this tournament. Left the game midway through the second quarter with a left leg injury and needed assistance to head off the field. So Bulgarians with an even a more difficult chore, trying to find offense without Lebel for the rest of this one. Melnichenko.
You spoke about communication earlier, and I'm not sure if Bulgaria moved into a zone or just simply sloughed off the man behind that X. But there was some wide gap on a 2-on-1 there.
Tough catch by Agbayani. Humenyuk. And he'll back it up and wants to dodge against Pekovsky. Humenyuk then will fire, and that's low to the stick side, handled cleanly by Marcos Bocanegra.
Some good communication there by Bulgaria on the, I think it shows an improvement between halftime and a little bit of adaptation. Unfortunately, still some clearing issues.
Off the turnover, Melnichenko took it across, hoping to shoot at an empty cage, but closest to it, and it's going to be Bulgaria and Konstantin Dikov. Dikov, 17 in white, he's very young too, 19 years old. He's also primarily a hockey guy in Bulgaria. He was saying to everybody last few days he wished he learned about lacrosse sooner, and is going to try to get more of his ice hockey buddies in Bulgaria to at least learn about lacrosse, pick it up as perhaps maybe their second sport and something else that they might find a passion in. And those are the kinds of stories, once you get exposed to a sport, Daniel, and that is what the value of being here, regardless of wins and losses, and how that can create a tremendous spread and catch like fire in a country, in a city.
Certainly see that Ukraine has actually taken that passion to find themselves some solid talent with a beautiful shot there.
Well, from the wing, Andrew Timkev with his second of the game, and Ukraine has pulled away. It's 9-5.
Nice shot placement, a little bit of traffic in front, making it difficult for the goalie to recognize the release point. I think that's pretty much the bottom right corner that he was able to sneak that one in there.
Maxim Dorobijczyk will get the assist, second of the game for the shot from Timkev. Andrew Timkev, born in the United States, was a collegiate goalie, but they use him on attack here for his stick skills and his experience. Face-off pursued by Polishchuk, and he's got it.
I like the ride by Bulgaria. forcing Ukraine back, hoping to get a turnover here. As long they're okay with this, as long as they don't handle a fast break.
Now in goal for the Ukrainians, Denis Demchenko, who has come in. He is the youngest goalie in their country. He is one of the 4 16-year-olds, and he has gotten occasional halves. Melnichenko spins away from the defender Argenio, then takes a hit, continues. He rumbled through a defender, and the charge is going to be called, I think, with the elbow. Andrei Topchev took the worst of it for Bulgaria.
It is worth mentioning that the ward in lacrosse is typically only viewed as an arm motion, but the actual technical definition would include lowering your shoulder into a player, although I don't believe it's frequently, if ever, called in the NCAA. In fact, I think we teach kids to bull dodge in a similar fashion. We have seen that call, along with interference calls, throw players off that are not used to the European game.
Unable to clear Fabian Todorov on the far sideline, and the Ukrainians will spread the field again. Defender Yevgeny Shian on the team with his brother for Ukraine. Transition opportunity, and Melnichenko will now hold it up with Bulgaria back ready to play 6-on-6. They stay in a man-to-man look that they have been learning throughout. As Lesko turned to put it on the floor, on the ground. Panin, feed behind and taking the shot in tight. Dorobichuk and Bocanegra able to handle it. Dorobichuk took the shot with his right hand. And the return back by Topchev.
Suffocating ride by the Ukrainian team.
It leads to an open shot and a goal. Andrew Timkev with consecutive goals. And the ride of Ukraine has turned this game around. It's now 10-5.
Excellent work by the Ukrainian team applying pressure. As the Bulgarian team is young, the nuances of getting it clear seem to escape them. Some of them, I noticed that both the defenders didn't stay back to enable that long field pass to defender. As you've seen throughout the course of this tournament, because there isn't a running clock, teams have used that to settle on, get on personnel. Unfortunately, that results in a Ukrainian goal. We have a timeout now, believe called by Bulgaria.
Ukraine has scored 5 out of the last 6. Andrew Timkev played at Babson, finishing up in the spring of 2020, but he is from Oakville, Ontario, and one of the many that have attended the well-known Hill Academy with their general manager, the famed Brody Merrill. 10-5 Ukraine. Yesterday, they played a flawless 3 quarters, as Dan Britton talked about. Now I'm sure he's talking to his team, again, learning how to play with a lead, something that he and I had a long talk with about the little things accumulate in a sport like lacrosse. As he says, the things that only grandma notices, making a good check, a good closeout on a player, managing a lead, making the simple pass or the simple ground ball that isn't a flashy play, but it leads to another good play.
I think you and I have spoken about this in earlier games during this tournament, that it's an interesting art when you play with a lead. This is a game of runs. It's unlikely that you will be the dominant force on offense for a full 60 minutes. It's much more likely that Bulgaria will go on a run of some sorts. So you can't take your foot off on offense. Instead, what you want to just make sure is that you're not giving up transition opportunities and that you have solid offensive possessions. Don't take for granted that 5-goal lead. If anyone had seen the Poland game versus Wales yesterday, there was as much as a 4 or 5-goal lead that went all the way up to a tie game with 2 minutes left. You can see those runs will happen from teams.
Pekovsky pushes forward, and this is one off the wing by Ostap Lyashenko for Ukraine. 44 in blue. However, taken back, though, by the Bulgarians. Clayton Bell trying to turn a corner. And Bell able to free his hands back behind Demchenko. Then his pass to the front looking for Pavel Alexandrov. All the way across midfield. It's an over and back against the Bulgarians. The whistle had not yet blown, so Yavor Argenio was ready to jam
A
it
little
free.
confusing there. Honestly, the opposite of what I've seen throughout the tournament, the refs here have been very quick on restarts. I think I even thought play had started and was about to compliment the check before I realized he hadn't started back up play.
Now coming out front, quick shot from Dorobichuk. He's the Ukrainian ex-attackman.
See over in the far sideline, Ukrainians 2 goalkeepers passing back and forth. I am interested to see whether or not they use this opportunity if we get into the fourth quarter with a significant lead to make sure that they're kind of rotating through their roster, getting people well-needed experience.
Dorobichuk will skip it. Up top for Timkev. Back for Timkev. Timkev being a goalie at Babson, as I said, appeared in a handful of games in his career and losing his senior year of 2020. So this is a chance to reinvigorate his lacrosse career. Panin got around the check. Panin's shot, and another good stop by Bocanegra, nearly to the off-stick side. He got most of it, but couldn't control it.
Excellent ground ball work there by the Ukrainian team, bringing it back out and settling in. Again, with a 10-5 lead, just a quality offensive possession is the most important thing.
Panin again to the jump shot, and Bocanegra comes out to the top of his crease to meet him there.
2 quality stops by the Bulgarian goalkeeper, keeping them in this game. Unfortunately, though, still the clearing issues are persisting.
The whistle had not yet blown, so that's a chance for the Bulgarians to take a breather and organize the clear. As Bocanegra will handle. And there is some thought with the shot clock coming up for 2027 championships. Will that be across every game? You know, when do you institute that in certainly regional championships? Argenio was thinking about a goal. And for developing nations, is it too soon to instill a shot clock? Maybe do you put it in maybe in certain games without a failure to advance to help teams that need to develop still the abilities to clear the ball and take their time?
Should be interesting to see how they attempt to roll it back out. It is a needed item.
Feed to the front. Humenyuk running the field down to Maxim Dorobichuk. 11-5 Ukraine.
You talked earlier in regards to the fact that Ukraine was about a cycle ahead of the Bulgarian team as they put together their first ever national team in these tournaments. And I think it demonstrates in moments like this, the stick control by the Ukrainians. It took them a total of 5 seconds to get down that field and have a shot point blank at the goal.
11-5 Ukraine. They've scored all 4 goals in the third. 5 straight overall. Under 4 minutes left in the period, and I'm sure I think that'll be some very good back and forth about how to institute that the best.
And I think you could see a little bit of bifurcation going on with World Lacrosse. They know they want to be in the Olympics. They want to continue the growth of the game, but the difference between playing for a U.S. or Canada versus playing for Bulgaria, that is still a wide gap, and you don't want to discourage players. You want to make these games match up as well as possible, and I think everything from snake seeding and the way they set their pools up is all with that in mind.
Pekovsky stopped by Demchenko. Long clearing pass overthrown. And the battle, and Maxim Dorobichuk, he's looked fresh in this game as he approaches the dish outside. Dorobichuk with the push, and then he'll come up with the assist. He finds his teammate again, Andrew Timkev, 12-5.
Again, demonstrating unselfish play there by the Ukrainian team. You don't see a player just simply trying to drive it in and take a low-angle shot. Instead, getting across crease with that pass, making it essentially an open net goal.
Timkev up the 4. It's been impressive watching the growth of Maxim Dorobichuk and taking ownership of the attack of Ukraine, 21 in blue. Pekovsky nearly a clean pickup. before the D-Midi came on in Lyashenko. Transition change, Humenyuk. At crossfield, and Bakalov read that pass coming. And Julian Bakalov of Westport, Connecticut. He's been one of our post-game interviews. And he has also been thrilled to get back to the sport that he grew up around. Pekovsky all the way to cage. Seaman Pekovsky running the field.
Beautiful clear and demonstration of the fast break relative to stymieing the attack from the Ukrainians. Bulgaria now really needs a face-off win or a turnover by the Ukraine so they can maintain momentum, potentially make this a tighter game heading into the fourth.
That ends a 6-0 run by the Ukrainians.
See the savvy veteran presence by the defender there as he brought the ball down the field and essentially pulled people forward to find the open Bulgarian player.
That's making the score 12-6. They have not yet updated it on the far side.
Less than a minute to play. Bulgaria with possession here, looking to cut that lead down 2-5 with less than a minute left.
Ground ball kicked very nicely. Great heads-up play by the long pole midi, Andrei Drachuk. And getting it to Demchenko. And now sidestepping the would-be ride of Bulgaria was the long pole. And we'll have a timeout, I think, taken. No, interference with a flag down. This is against Bulgaria. And heading to the box is Clayton Bell. So with 25 seconds left, timeout Ukraine. So Coach Dan Britton can talk this over and run his team through situations. And short clock. So great to catch up with Coach Bell. And fascinating with the structure of Ukraine lacrosse, with everything that is going on in their country, that they have their calendar established for what's next. In October, they're going to be in a tournament in Greece. There's another one soon around November in Croatia. And they have a 2-day training camp scheduled for August 8th through the 10th. They're going to get 4 practices in. They're established in 6 cities in Ukraine with youth clinics set up with the older players to get more sticks in hand. So Ukraine, as I said, has already covered a lot of the bases that it takes to get a sport, a governing body off the ground.
I actually follow the Ukrainian lacrosse team on Instagram, and I've seen when they've run their youth clinics. It's impressive to see, and it's an important element if you truly want to develop the sport in a country and have a solid national team. As we mentioned, some of the Nordic states that have come along, and even the Slavic countries, you can't simply be bringing in outside players and hope not to have highs and lows depending on how they develop. Instead, if you're able to get to the players when they're, say, 10 years old, at a young enough age, the kind of core development takes place, and over enough numbers, you're going to pick up core athletes to be able to play at the national team. And ideally, I think the next U19 cycle is going to be interesting to see how many more teams enter in there and are able to really show that they've developed their youth for that.
25 seconds remaining, third quarter. So now we'll see how Ukraine can execute a game plan that is devised for them and handed to them in the next phase of their evolution as an offense.
You made mention situational lacrosse here. Have not been a lot of penalties on here, so important to just get the practice of running a man-up unit. I like how Bulgaria is pressing the ball handlers, trying to make it a little bit more difficult to run a set.
Tim Kev will start it up top. And the pass for Humanyuk, and he may have thought that there was another guy in the wing and then gave up on the ball. And with 8 seconds left, Ukraine turns it over.
Again, these are important reps for the Ukrainian players. The more you do it, the more you deal with the pressure, the better you will get at it.
Oh, the strip on Bocanegra and an easy layup. Maxim Dorobichuk, the goal. That'll make it 13-6.
Challenging there for the Bulgarian goalie. I think he was excited to actually have the stop on the man up. Moved a little too quickly out of the goal. probably would have been better off going back behind goal and simply killing off clock to end that man-up opportunity.
A frustrating one for the Bulgarians to give up. Their clear has hurt them and handed numerous extra possessions to the Ukrainians. They'll have to readjust the clock here. Only a few seconds left as they allowed it to run in the third quarter. And the score is 13-6. We'll get that corrected over the far sideline during the break. Face-off is won by Polishchuk, and that's it for 3 quarters. 13-6 Ukraine en route to the program's first win in any international competition. We're back with the fourth quarter from Lax TV and World Lacrosse TV. Start of the fourth quarter, 13-6 Ukraine, and a face-off win by Artem Polishchuk. Ralph Bjornchik alongside Daniel Chernovsky. Final game, 7th game in 8 days for these two nations, and Ukraine on their way to their first international win, and how well earned it will be, as we'll get to that. But the game dramatically changed, Daniel, once Tucker LaBelle, midway through the second quarter, who had scored 4 goals, it was 5-4 at the time of his injury, left the game with a likely hamstring pull, a leg injury, as this ball by Agbayani gets away from his attackman behind, and Maxim Dorobichuk.
Unfortunate injury, and I think it wasn't just his individual skill, it was the field sense in which he even assisted on the clear. I saw him twice come up out of attack to go get that ball, get them settled in.
Slash is called on Semen Paykovsky after the dropped clear, and in frustration, he's going to put Ukraine up a man. But yeah, LaBelle's presence for Bulgarian lacrosse in these 10 days cannot be overstated, and they obviously miss him a lot.
The Ukrainian team will have another opportunity here on Man Up.
This time, Dan Brittany, he's going to spend his second timeout of the second half. And we just saw this, Daniel Chernovsky. He put in a play with 25 seconds left in the third quarter. Let's see, guys, how we execute a given design and make decisions. And unfortunately, they threw the ball away, unsure where the next pass was. So I think he's trying to rein them in and, again, give them their next challenge of how to come out and understand tactics and within the game.
You know, the score sheet's going to show that they had a man-up goal there. In reality, on a broken play, slightly different. I'm sure for him, he knows that for them to advance, they need to convert at a higher clip or rate in the man-up scenario. And so the practice is important, and that makes sense to be calling the timeout, walk them through the set, make sure they have something that they can rely on, they could go back to again when they do camp later on in the year, and you just continue to reinforce that work.
13-6 our score. It was 7-5 Ukraine at halftime, but they have pulled away since the LaBelle injury. And they'll have it here with a full minute man up. It's a running clock, so when you stop the clock and you have a chance at your full time, and you notice the midfielders talking to one another, and Lesko, Timkiv on the left, and Humenyuk on the right.
Seems like they're going to be doing something of a 3-3 set. Ukraine touches the corners with the ball. Beautiful interception.
Jumping into the passing lane, Dimitar Ivanov. And he knew where the next ball was supposed to go. Ivanov down a man. Bulgaria's going to be aggressive, and they get perhaps their first man-down goal as a nation. Filip Donov. Well, he jumped into the play after the tremendous clean interception by Dimitar Ivanov. 13-7.
As we like to say, that is a 2-goal swing, going on the man up and suddenly having a turnover that converts into a man-down goal. Emotionally, for the Ukrainian team, it's important they recognize these runs will happen. They need to continue to settle back in and just attempt to execute.
Ukraine turning it over on both possessions immediately following a timeout. So you can see the growing pains that are existing. But credit Dimitar Ivanov. He sent where the next pass was supposed to go within the structure of Ukraine's offense. Just slow getting there. Polishchuk looking for his own. And Artem Polishchuk, who has had a very good game, and now he's got a goal as the face-off man for the Ukrainians.
You can see the speed with which the Ukrainians move down the field on a broken play or fast break. I do believe at least 3, if not 4, of the goals they've picked up have been on either broken plays or on fast breaks.
Artem Polishchuk, just 21 years old. He is from the city of Zhytomyr. And that is a city that has one of the 5 or 6 lacrosse teams in the country of Ukraine. And there's one city that also has 2 already. Face-off win again for Polishchuk, 14-7 Ukraine. But they step in the crease. They've already scored the most goals in any game to this point. Yesterday they scored 8, 2 days ago 7 against Croatia. Pekovsky. And tough in the clear.
Initially picked the ball up, the refs moved him back over into the alley. Still legs it out and scores a goal.
Pekovsky is able to beat the new goalie in Dmytro Holovytyuk, the 3rd goalie in for the Ukrainians. 2nd of the half for Pekovsky. And then a flag out late after the goal. And it's going to be they didn't pick it up right away, but it looks like it was just going to be a 30. So a technical foul, goal stands, and we remain even.
Do not see Bit of confusion, I think, on both sides there as they saw the flag down. Interesting face-off exchange there between the Bulgarian and Ukrainian player. The Bulgarian face-off man getting up at least twice during that exchange. Wins the face-off.
Paykovsky, he might have hit the goalie right in the leg.
What I like here is Ukraine's coach is leaving the goalie in, let him get the reps.
At a 30-second push with possession, Volodymyr Sheehan will go right into the box as he sprints there. So Bulgaria with a quick 30. They look to feed the crease, it deflects through, and is captured and grabbed. Well, a dangerous play that could have gone in for a goal, but Dmitry Holafityuk was able to see it. But a failed man down clear. Feed to the front, Clayton Bell with a goal. Filip Donov, after the ride of Bulgaria, this time gets one back on Ukraine, 14-9.
As we talked about earlier in the broadcast, it's important for players within Ukraine to be able to feel this pressure and just simply adapt to it. It is a game of runs. It was inevitable that Bulgaria was going to have goals put on there. They still have the lead, and they just simply need to settle down on offense and maintain a long possession and then begin to rebuild on that lead.
Paykovsky, clean pickup, then dispossessed. Vladislav Humenyuk came from his wing position to just dislodge it. And the pursuit from 92, Volodymyr Sheehan. And taking it back, Konstantin Dikov of Bulgaria. On a bounce ahead for Donov. Up ahead, Paykovsky. And Paykovsky, and it turns not a bad look with the confidence of Semen Paykovsky, the face-off man for Bulgaria, has been noteworthy to me. He scored a couple of goals, but he's looked like a two-way midfielder, ascending from a guy that entered this tournament where his primary focus he was trying to learn was how to face off first and then go from there.
I think it's important to note that if you want to go on a run, possession is such a huge element of that, specifically coming off of the face-offs. His confidence has grown as we've gone through this period.
Then he'll take the shot, maybe overconfidence. 12-yard look, Daniel.
I think
Paykovsky gets his own rebound.
I'd like to see him.
Then Cholikov may have popped his own tire as he is slow to get up. Shoveled ahead by Dorobichuk, and on the ground it comes for Zhabotinsky. Perhaps a 2-on-1. Melnichenko across for a slam dunk with a flag out. Vladislav Humenyuk gets the goal from Melnichenko. The failed clear by the Bulgarians, 15-9.
There was a flag down on the field. I don't know who the call is against. I saw the Bulgarian speak with him, so I assume the flag was thrown against them.
They're going to send off Julian Bakalov of Bulgaria. He goes to the box. I think it was a three. It was a 1-minute slash assessed to Bakalov after the goal that Humenyuk scored. So 3-on-2 on this faceoff. 15-9 Ukraine. Then Paykovsky, I think, took a slash in the helmet. Two officials throwing flags. illegal body check for a minute and nullifies that man up. It'll be Bulgaria possession. And heading off is 17 Nazari Panin. And we'll have a timeout here for the Bulgarians. So we'll have a rare 5-on-5 for the Bulgarians to play through. And Coach Darcy Paulus will spend this opportunity to go through how a 5-on-5 works. As we see some of the recent goals for this one, 15-9 is our score, 6:46 to play. The plan is for Darcy Paulus, when the schedule is so crammed as it is, where once the games start, you're playing, recovering, maybe you have a team meeting, and then you get ready for your next game. And that continues to repeat itself. They're hoping today at some point, tomorrow, to have some sort of a team gathering, something team bonding, something to say goodbye really well, to kind of cap off this experience for Bulgarian lacrosse. And Darcy Paulus was regretting that's just the way the calendar goes here. You may not realize it until you get here. Like, I wish we could have squeezed something in. So that's one of his goals before they exit out of here, rather than some of the rushed meals that occur, to have truly more of a private or somewhere, some kind of good team dinner together to celebrate this first Bulgarian team in an international tournament.
I love the chemistry, though, with which they've both played and off the field. They were selling some Bulgarian T-shirts over in the Wax Festival, and there's just a joy for them being on here. I think experiences like this, the 5-on-5, you traditionally would tell your player to do a little bit of a kill, but instead they come back and score a goal.
Oh, nice feed into Galin Ivanov. That's a very nice 5-on-5 put together out of the timeouts. He's parked right on the crease, and Ukraine left him wide open. And recognition from Ivanov on the assist. 5-on-5 goal, 15-10.
Bulgaria, I don't see the third Bulgarian defenseman on there. I think a little confusion on their part.
And we're still 5-on-5. Each team is going to choose, Daniel, to have an uncontested guy on the wing. And Polishchuk will win that uncontested situation. He puts the ball right where his own man is standing and uncovered.
Looks like we're now back to 6-on-6 with both penalties released.
Dorobichuk, 21 in blue, amazingly, has only been playing lacrosse for 2.5 years. And they've put him as the ex-attackman of all positions in a true leadership role. Now, procedure is called on Ukraine, and what could this be about, Daniel? It was the back judge that made the call with the ball in front of him.
Yeah, a little bit confusing for myself. I saw them adapting to what looked like a Bulgarian zone there, and as that went on, the whistles blew, and the call went.
And missing wide, Galin Ivanov might have had even more room and time than he thought. Off the initial nice pass by Julian Bakalov to start the clear. But then this is out of the reach of Todorov, and Bulgaria turns it over with 4:40 left. 15-10. I don't know if I expected a high-scoring game into this one. I was expecting a close one, Daniel, in the battle for 23rd with two first-timers to an international tournament in Ukraine and Bulgaria. But we've had 25 goals scored. Looking for more, Ukraine.
That shot is the reason why this game has been as high of a scoring one. High lacrosse IQ on the drive, finding the feeder. Although he's a little bit left, the Ukrainian team has executed on that play multiple times during the day today. And on the Bulgarian side, their individual talent has shown them. We saw their face-off player really feel the confidence, so much so shooting from outside the restraining box. But, we have a flag down.
Just as David Jabotinsky was about to curl cut there, he's knocked down, and a 1-minute call, cross-check against Konstantin Dikov called on Bulgaria. Ukraine with another man up as they put on the finishing touches of their first victory.
About 3:30 to play for the Ukrainian team. Again, I believe they just want to have a solid execution of a man up. We've seen them in this position twice, and have turnovers in both scenarios, just walking through their 3-3 set will be important for them. Bulgaria, though, unwilling to simply concede, they are pressing out in this scenario. You'd like to see the Ukrainians spin it to the offside and make that defense move.
Agbayani, and Agbayani scores.
Beautiful goal there. The individual from the Ukrainian team coming from X, just finding the open man dead in center on the crease. Nice little slide around the Bulgarian defender and puts it in with his right.
That again was the pass threaded by 21 Maxim Dorobichuk. And Rakin Agbayani with the goal, 16-10. Classic man-up finish. Among the people that have been greatly involved, and there's people behind the scenes that have done so much work for these developing nations as Polishchuk carries. And now whistle behind the play. Do we have a timeout?
I think I heard a legal procedure on that call.
Yeah, that's very late after the face-off win by Polishchuk, so Bulgaria will have it. The president of the Ukrainian Lacrosse Federation that head coach Dan Britton met prior to 2011 is here, Volva Demedyuk. He is on the sideline over in Ukraine, but his wife Mrishka is greatly actively involved, essentially as the secretary. Dan Britton estimates that she has probably filled out or done over 100 hours of phone calls and forms within the Ukrainian Sports Federation in conjunction with getting these young men who were concerned about being drafted into the military, making sure that all their paperwork is in order so that they can all get the clearance to be here. So Marishka Demedyuk deserving so much credit to have all the paperwork possible to help Ukraine field the team here.
No small task, as we've seen previous teams in both European qualifiers as well in World Championships have issues with both their domestic organizations or with individual players' paperwork, costing them rankings and otherwise disqualifications.
Humenyuk, room and time for the shot. Jabotinsky, he'll back it out. And for the Bulgarians, they hope their next generation is already here watching. We've talked about 21-year-old face-off man Semen Peykovsky. Well, his younger brother is here. Might have noticed a teenager that's been shooting around with the Bulgarian team. He's 14 years old, named Essi Peykovsky. Essi has 6 other friends, as we have another flag down, that rudely interrupt the story. Maxim Dorobicek will pick up a 1-minute call at 16-10. But Essi Peykovsky has 6 other friends that are also big-time into lacrosse at the age of 14. And Darcy Powlis is particularly said to Essi he's got to make a conscious effort to keep them engaged, as well as Semen, the older brother, as a save is made here on that shot on the man up, and the clear attempt starts for Panin. To keep them engaged, Darcy Powlis envisions a situation where those now 7 players that are 14 today could be 18 in the next 4-year cycle and look a lot like the Ukrainian 16 years old, the quartet of 16-year-olds that Dan Britton has, to show that next phase, as this one has gotten very sloppy here at the end with another foul with 43 seconds. So we look forward to seeing Essi Peykovsky someday in a Bulgarian uniform rather than on the sideline.
I do think with only a minute, a little bit over, 30 seconds left in the game, the benches have a little bit been cleared through. Bulgarians don't have many people they can put onto the field with only 2 standing players on the sideline. So clearly worn out as it went through here. Just hoping, I think, to get through the end of the game without any ugliness to it. It does seem that there's been mutual respect between the teams as we watch this game.
Yeah, our officials trying to get the remaining 30 seconds of this game organized. We have 2 players in the box for Ukraine, so it's 6-on-4 for the Bulgarians. And now they have a player running off, 1, 2, 3. And actually there's 3 in the box for Ukraine. So that was the issue. 6 on 3, and this one easy for Clayton Bell. Ukraine with just 3 defenders looked unsure with where to go. Typically you don't have a chance to really practice that among everything in the pyramid of preparing a team. 16-11.
You got to give Ukraine credit there, even though they were incredibly confused there. Just simply trying to get out there, allowing it to happen. Again, it's still a 16-11 game. You see them going through. I believe I've seen all 3 goalies, at least 2 different goalies in there for the Ukrainian team. You love seeing the developmental work, as we were talking earlier about for the Bulgarian team. So you get on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, that's Dmytro Holoftyuk, who's playing the 4th quarter with 24 seconds left, 16-11. Now we're down to just a 6-on-5 before the 2 teams can look ahead and start to watch the other games and reflect on what they achieved here. False start against Polishchuk. Semen Paykovsky with yet another flag out, and this one goes wide. And it seems the players are emotionally spent here at the end. This is a 30-second call. Again against the Ukrainians, that time against Artem Polishchuk, who just lost the faceoff to Paykovsky. 16 seconds to go. Bulgaria, they're going to get their money's worth and probably get one more shot. Room and time, the bats are denied by Holoftyuk. Then Holoftyuk will come up with a clear. Ukraine will run the clock out. And Ukraine is going to come up with their first win in an international lacrosse game.
Bodies flying around a little bit there. I think the defenseman got a little excited, thought he was going to take it out to the end. I just love the enthusiasm from the Ukrainian going, pumping his hands. 2 great saves there. It's just kind of the perfect opportunity for someone getting a little extra time in the game.
Ukraine's first win in an international lacrosse game has come here in Wrocław. 16-11 as players start to hug on the sideline. They need one more whistle. As Dan Britton felt and told his team, no matter what, we won being here in this journey. With everything that Ukraine has been through as a nation, lacrosse has provided a distraction and a different purpose in these young Ukrainian men's lives and a chance to stay the course in their lives and certainly their futures. We hope for the very, very best with the conflict taking place. But Ukraine lacrosse and Bulgaria lacrosse achieving something here. 2 first-timers. Ukraine is a winner for the first time. But in a lot of ways, Daniel Chernovsky, both nations here achieved a lot and won a lot, pushing the needle forward into their journeys.
We hear the expression that everyone is a winner in this scenario, and sometimes it may seem trite, but it is a true scenario in which everyone really walks away a winner here, having Bulgaria complete just wonderful caps, Ukrainian taking their first victory, and now the opportunity for these teams, as you mentioned earlier, to sit back and watch some great lacrosse, bronze medal games today, gold medal games tomorrow, qualifications match, to learn and observe, and then take that back as they go through their developmental journeys.
16-11, our final score. Some of the stars that shine today for Ukraine in their first victory that this group was all a part of. Their goalie play was very strong. 16-year-old Vladislav Humenyuk, he finished with 3 goals and an assist among the leaders. Andrew Timkev, playing as a role model, native of Ontario, he finished with 3 goals. And Maxim Dorobichuk also with 2 goals and 2 assists. Tucker Lebel leading Bulgaria, scoring the first 4 goals before suffering an injury. 16-11 is the final score. For my partner, Daniel Chernovsky, my name is Ralph Benarchik saying so long, and congratulations to both Ukraine and Bulgaria in their first appearance in international tournaments. They make it through. It is Ukraine that finishes 23rd. We're back with more continuing coverage of the 2025 Men's European Lacrosse Championships from Wrocław, Poland on Lax TV and World Lacrosse TV.
Commercial break! We've been really busy over the past 2 years developing our very own women's lacrosse stick.
We are really, really proud of it. So stop by the shop. We would love to tell you more about it.
Good Stick Co. Come get a stick. Good Stick Company is here to manufacture and produce lacrosse sticks locally here in the Czech Republic. Our mission is to make lacrosse more accessible so more kids can have access to affordable, high-quality equipment so more people can play this game and we can share this sport around the world. Our philosophy on pricing is quite simple. By removing all these different logistics and these middlemen in the manufacturing process of lacrosse sticks, we can pass those savings on to you. We can make these quality lacrosse sticks affordable for more people.
We honor our indigenous roots and international history. Lacrosse is more than a game. We play with speed, heart, and precision. Young, modern, electric, inclusive, growing across the globe. Lacrosse is everyone's sport, governed globally by World Lacrosse. We honor our indigenous roots and international history. Lacrosse is more than a game. We play with speed, heart, and precision. Young, modern, electric, inclusive, growing across the globe. Lacrosse is everyone's sport, governed globally by World Lacrosse.
With Ukraine national team head coach Dan Britton after their first international tournament win.
Wow.
Coach, tell me what went into this?
Well, it went into 6 hard games before that to get to that point. I think every game our players learned the international play. This is the first time we've ever played outside the country in a tournament. So all 6 games we built on, we grew on, put it all together for a good win. We almost had a win yesterday against Denmark and played really well against Croatia, but it's good to see everyone come together.
Ukraine and Bulgaria both have learned so much throughout this process, just being around so much lacrosse, seeing so much great lacrosse. Tell me, what aspect do you think your team has learned the most from?
I think it gives them a picture of what lacrosse could be in Ukraine. When you play yourselves over and over again, you kind of hit a wall. But I think now they've broken through a comfort zone of seeing lacrosse played at a level of what they could ascend to. So now not only watch it, but actually be on the field. And when you do that, that experience is going to pay off. So we got a couple tournaments we're going to try to get to in the fall and continue to build on what we're going to learn here with our national team. And this is 14 years. We started lacrosse with Vova in 2011, and this is a 14-year dream to be here today and get a first win.
One more time, Coach Dan Britton of Ukraine as they defeat Bulgaria 16-11 to get their first international tournament win here at the 2025 European Men's Lacrosse Championships.
I'm here with number 1, Marcos Bocanegra, the goalie for Bulgaria after their last game of their tournament versus Ukraine. Marcos, you had a lot of great saves tonight, and anyone who's watched you guys from the beginning can see that there's been a lot of significant improvement for your team. What have you noticed, essentially?
Oh, we just been improving. We've been playing as a team. We get more comfortable, and as long as we keep playing these games, we're gonna get better and better. It's only up from here.
And you're 18. Yep. Next year, or in the fall, you're going to go to Clark University to play under your teammate Tucker LaBelle. Describe how that makes you feel to go from, well, he's player coach now, but then he's going to be coach.
It is a little weird. But, I think I'm going to have a little bit more I'm going to be he going to be my coach, not my player. So I got to get that mentally in. But yeah, it's going to be a little weird, but yeah.
All right, thank you. That is Marcos from Team Bulgaria after the last day of the European Men's Lacrosse Tournament for them here in Wrocław.